accident, you know it's no walk in the park. Car repairs, medical bills, and lost time from work all add up. And if the insurance company isn't paying their fair share, you have to cover the rest, even if it wasn't your fault. That's why you need an advocate. Call us today, and we'll do everything we can to get you moving again. Come on.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine, Thursday, October 10th. October 10th, 2024 already. Unbelievable. As always, we're presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. So thankful the Advocates were yesterday for all of your donations supporting their initiatives to help underprivileged kids in all of our communities have a Halloween costume. Great job. I appreciate you. The Advocates appreciate you, and they remind you. They understand that if you've been in an accident, it's one of the worst days of your life. That's why you need clear, risk-free advice. And you shouldn't have to worry about whether or not you can afford it. And that's why you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates. In fact, you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Get to theadvocates.com and chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365. And it won't cost you a dime. Good morning. If you are in Florida, I heard from so many of you yesterday on DM. Kevin in Tampa, he works downtown. He lives on the outskirts of Tampa. He was telling me that they are in Key Largo with his family, riding out this storm, which is now over. They are having to wait for gasoline because the gas stations around them are out of gas. So they can't get back home because they're out of gas. So their Ring cameras are offline. Like, I had a whole conversation with this cat about how they were just hoping their Ring cameras would survive the storm. And the battery, they were live streaming on their, because when you can hit live, view live, and they have a camera that they had set up in their house to monitor the flooding. And the last thing they saw is they could see the water starting to come in through their back slider. And then his camera died. That's the life that people in Florida are living right now. So keep them in your thoughts. As I tell you every day on the show, recently, Florida is one of our largest states on the show. We're thinking about you guys. And I know there's not much we can do. But hopefully the show today, hopefully the show yesterday, tomorrow, and until you get some sort of normalcy back in Tampa and in the state of Florida, because it is the state of Florida in its entirety. Yeah. Did you guys see the Tropicana last night, Trop Field? We don't have the video of the Tropicana. My bad. Tropicana Field had the roof ripped off of it.
Yeah.
And I apologize. We played the wrong video there. Absolute destruction in Tampa. And the flooding that's going on to every Maury Alvarez apparently DM'd you and said he's
he
good.
made it through the night.
Which is fantastic.
I mean, it sounds like people had, it was rough, obviously, if you were on the west side of Florida, on the coast that was impacted directly. Like, obviously there was a lot of flooding and, there was a lot of that, but it seems like people did maybe a little bit better than initially thought. I think there was a lot of hey, a lot of people are going to die, but it seems like a lot of people moved. A lot of people either, they went way, way south, or they went way up north to try to get out of the center of it and just try to be kind of on the outskirts of the storm. So it seems like, yes, there's a lot of damage, but, it seems like people are okay, which is good. Obviously.
Obviously, thankfully, it looks like most people are okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get a screenshot of this Tropicana Field video for you. It is incredible. Probably the most incredible part of this picture I'm going to show you is that it is a still shot from a drone. How are you flying a drone in a hurricane? I don't know. These are the great mysteries of life, friends. But let me show you this screenshot of Tropicana Field. This is where you'll notice that they're outside. This is a drone outside of Tropicana Field, and the roof is no longer in place.
Right.
And you can see the different parts of the roof on the field, and notice that those are all cots and beds for first responders and those displaced by the storm. A great amount of energy and effort was spent setting up Tropicana Field as a shelter. And even that went for naught because this storm was so powerful. Can you imagine ripping the roof off of a stadium?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I think
incredible.
It's one of those deals where, that roof is clearly not rated for, a hurricane, which,
Yeah.
I think, not to be negative, I hope that when they put a new roof on that it is a little more prepared.
I just am, again, I just hope that when people tell you to leave. I read this, you were fascinated with this captain.
Yeah, Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, they're referring to him as Lieutenant Dan. This
What
guy
are we
who
doing?
owns a sailboat, and he's a cult hero kind of because he allegedly rode out this storm on his sailboat in the harbor. Like, I just think that every time there's a major storm like this, we always have someone like that. It's your choice. I disagree with the choice, but hey, if that's where you feel like you want to ride out a storm, that's your prerogative. That's not what I would be doing.
Yeah, it is. They were trying to get this guy out. And he just would not leave his boat. And this morning we saw video on TV that showed his boat absolutely destroyed, slamming up against a pier. I hope he's not on it. I hope he's not on it. All right, let's be an escape from reality by fantasizing about what is actually going on in the ACC, because I think this is a big deal. We have talked about it pretty much as details have come out about the ACC lawsuit where they are battling Florida State and Clemson for a way out of the ACC for Florida State and Clemson and perhaps others. But we had also told you about, 3 weeks ago now, that settlement talks had begun between the ACC, Florida State, and Clemson to try and settle this lawsuit. Those talks essentially were constructed around the idea that Florida State and Clemson would stay in the ACC and that they would go to a merit-based revenue distribution system. And it seemed like there was significant momentum. Has that changed? I don't believe that it has changed. But what I think is, according to sources who told me yesterday, that there are no talks happening or currently scheduled as members of the ACC listen to this smash cap Project Rudy proposal, that talks are on hold, if you will, because it does not make sense for Florida State, Clemson, or anybody else in the ACC to leave this conference if a Super League is going to happen in 2 years. Now, to recap, this is exactly what we told you was going on. It makes very little sense for a conference that has got power status to melt down when a super conference is on the way, when a super league is on the way. And I think this is ultimately the result that college football needed to happen. If the ACC were somehow to melt down, and again, I want to reiterate, our sources have continuously told us there is no avenue for Florida State or Clemson to win this lawsuit against the ACC. This lawsuit was brought essentially for the purpose of negotiating a settlement. There's been no aha moment. There's been no gotcha moment. When you look at the ACC getting a court order to turn over the television agreement it has with ESPN, that was supposed to be the smoking gun, the escape hatch, if you will. That never materialized. So Florida State and Clemson have no avenue. There is no lever for them to pull to void the ACC grant of rights. And I think that is the biggest story that continues to be told in this ACC lawsuit saga. But there is no question now that when you hear about Smash Cap and this Project Rudy scenario, that the ACC is benefiting from the imagination of what might be happening in 2 years in college football. And Jake, ultimately, I think this is absolutely the appropriate outcome.
Absolutely. And I think the ACC lawsuit situation was always going to head this direction. And, you know, I think a lot of people wanted the ACC lawsuit to turn into this whole thing where, you know, the conference just melted down, and that's just not going to happen. And I think that, you know, if you're someone who thought the conference was melting down, I would encourage you to take a step back and look at the situation in its totality, because it doesn't help anybody, including Florida State or Clemson, for the ACC to in fact melt down, because ultimately we've talked so much about, like, where would Florida State and Clemson go? Where would, you know, what options would they have? And those options are extremely limited. And so when you start looking at the Super League angle and this Smash Cap proposal and Project Rudy and, you know, what they're looking to do here, it makes a lot more sense for Florida State and Clemson to just chill and wait for the Super League to develop, and then enter a new era in college football on a more positive note. Because I think for Florida State and Clemson, that's one thing that they're having to battle specifically, which would be, hey, like, you've been, you know, the barking dog, the problem in the ACC, the squads that people do not respect because you haven't won anything really at all recently. I mean, Florida State obviously had a good year last year, but Clemson hasn't done anything. And outside of that 1 year for Florida State, they hadn't really done anything. So I just think there's this dynamic at play where people are starting to understand that, yeah, there's a new chapter coming with this Super League. And we should probably just wait for that to happen rather than trying to force litigation and trying to force a settlement that doesn't really accomplish much outside of unequal revenue sharing in the conference.
Yeah, there's no win there.
Yeah.
And I think the win for the ACC is keeping the conference together, because, again, I'll remind you, and so many people seem to lose sight of this, the conferences don't go away in a Super League. Football moves to its own entity. But ACC basketball, baseball, hockey, field hockey, track and field, whatever the sport is, remains under the ACC umbrella, as it does in every other conference. And I think it's easy to lose sight of what's really important. And what's really important here is making sure from the ACC side of it that you keep this conference together, because it really is a strong group of members who largely want to stay together, but want a more equal revenue share distribution. And I'd remind you also, one of the details of the Super League and this Project Rudy Super League model is that if you don't make the playoffs, you don't make money. If you make the playoffs, you make far more money. If you go deep into the playoffs, you make far more money than those who do not. And you look at that incentivized model to win on the field. You are incentivized to win games. I know it's crazy, but win football games on the field. That's how you're going to make the most money.
Right.
But it also means that there is still an emphasis on winning basketball games. And if you are the ACC, you are arguably the best basketball conference in the country. Forget what I think. But there's a large swath of this country that believes the ACC is the best basketball conference in the country. That's a revenue stream for you, and a damn important one. And if that conference melts down, it will be over egos, and it will be over a lack of ability to communicate.
Right.
Because the ACC conference, for everything that it is not, it is an ATM machine in basketball. The amount of money being generated in the basketball business in the ACC is significant, and it's only going up. So burning that thing to the ground is a huge mistake. And it's what Florida State and Clemson have never been able to grasp, that you're not going to make nearly as much money in basketball or in football if you become a member of the SEC.
Yeah, and I also think that this business acumen piece of the Florida State Clemson conversation is an important one, because I think as you move into a new chapter with this Super League situation, because I'm well past if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I think when we see the 70-ish teams that are going to get into this thing, like I think we're heading into a time where if you're not liked, if people don't want to do business with you, that's going to make it harder on you. Like, I do agree, obviously, that the structure of this thing is, hey, if you go deeper in the playoff, you're going to make more money. But I also think there's this large swath of money-making opportunity that it happens off the field as well. And yes, it is somewhat connected to winning ball games on the field and on the court. But we all know this, if you're not liked in the room, if you're the guy in the room that, stands out like a sore thumb and people don't really want to talk to you.
People don't trust you.
Like, that's really going to hurt your ability to make money in this new era that we're kind of heading into. And I think for Florida State and Clemson, we're sitting here talking about why these talks are on hold for a settlement. I think for them, that's a really important piece. And I wonder how seriously they take that, because up until that whole part about, ESPN, the contract, we're going to find nefarious activities. Up until that point, they were like talking a bunch of junk, hating.
They were punching each other in the face repeatedly.
Yeah.
They were going head to head in the ring, trying to find that smoking gun. And as I've told you for 2 years since all of this started, there's no smoking gun.
Yeah, it just never materialized for them.
You have tried for years to get out of the ACC grant of rights. You have spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and you've got nothing in return. And you thought that getting access to the ESPN ACC TV contract would do that. It did not. And you look at the procedural moves, because that's all that's happened in this case. Procedural moves. Like, what was it? 2 weeks ago, the ACC filed an appeal of the venue where this case is being heard. Like, it's all procedural.
Yeah.
And now you start hearing that the Super League is real. Like, I talked to a TV guy yesterday who said this is as close as we have ever been to solving the NIL revenue sharing money hole that is going to open up in the coming years for athletics in these universities.
Well, and think about how much anxiety that causes universities. I mean, obviously, like we talk so much about like the big boys, right, who are making the most money, Ohio State and all the usual suspects. But like for those schools, it's not anxiety. It's just like, all right, we got this new line item, $22 million-ish a year, depending on how much we make. And, we'll be able to handle that. We just need to make sure that we kind of backfill that and we'll be fine. But you think about even like, I hope people understand, even a mid-table SEC team, Vanderbilt as an example. This is a huge problem for a school like Vanderbilt or schools at that level, because they're not making the level of revenue that they need to be making to overcome that. It's almost like the same thought as paying your taxes, right? Like you've got this cost, but if you're not making enough money to pay your taxes and you just got to keep bringing that money home, how are you going to do that? And I think that's what a lot of schools are feeling today. So that's why I'm saying that, yes, we are as close as we've ever been, but I don't think it's like, hey, we're as close as we've ever been, but there's a wall here. I think we're as close as we've ever been, and we're sprinting to the finish line to get this thing figured out, because everybody involved wants to get it figured out.
Has anybody thought about what it means to get $9 billion in private money? That's the other part of this conversation that I think most people don't understand. And in our comment section yesterday, there were a lot of people saying, stop comparing Boise to Michigan. That's a bad comparison. The reason that we compare Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, all the biggest programs in football, to the G5, if you do some simple math, and let's say it's 70, do you guys know what 9 billion divided by 70 is? $128.5 million. That's what each of these teams, these universities, would be on the hook. That's their equity share. if you get a 70-team playoff, and let's say it's equally distributed, and I'm not promising you it will be, Smash Capital comes in with $9 billion, drops it into a pot. They spread it out over 70 universities. It's $128.5 million per school. Does Boise State have the same ability to repay that equity with juice on it, I would assume? Let's call it $150 million. Because that's a number a TV guy gave to me yesterday. It's going to cost every one of these 70 universities $150 million each to pay back the private money.
Right.
Does Boise State have the same ability as Ohio State, Michigan?
No. And I also
Georgia,
think,
Bama.
I also think, do they have the ability, but do they have the confidence in this in the mechanism that they're looking at to pay that back? Right. So like what does paying it back look like? Does paying it back simply look like, hey, you got to go deep into the playoff? Can paying it back mean, hey, like whether you go deep in the playoff or you pull that out of your school's coffers or whatever, you got to pay that check back? Like that's the part that I think that schools are extremely wary of. Because again, if you're the big dogs, you're not worried about this because you're there every single year. You have the best talent. You're playing in the biggest games already. Like you've been playing in the biggest games. So the foundation that you're working on is hundreds of millions of dollars deep already. So you're able to cover that more easily than Boise State. But I think people saying, oh, well, Boise State and Alabama is a bad comparison. It doesn't matter if it's a good or bad one because, frankly, the NIL settlement doesn't care who you are.
So let me get this right. You're going to pay $10 million a year in the NIL settlement. You're going to revenue share 22. Let's call it 20. It's 21 and a half. Let's call it $22 million a year. That's $32 million.
Right.
And then you're going to add $8 million on top of that. So you're at $40 million a year that you've got to pay people just to play. That's just to play college football.
Just to show up.
You're pushing $40 million out the year in expenses. And then you got to buy equipment and maintain your stadium and pay all that staff.
So,
and
when you talk about
insurance.
Good or bad comparison, hey, Boise State's been, as an example, investing in their facilities. They've been expanding. They've been trying to improve. So everything from, hot dog sales and ticket sales to Buddy in your sales department closing the local dealership is going to matter. So when we talk about, hey, like, unequal opportunity, like we got people in our comment section that are all pissed off about the fact that most of the G5 isn't even going to sniff this opportunity because
doesn't
they just
want to sniff
like
this opportunity
and saying that it's unfair. And it's
half,
not unfair.
You guys, do you understand the cost that it will be? I mean, you're looking at, tens of millions of dollars. If you're the G5, if you are, pick your poison. Who's the biggest G5 program? Memphis, UNLV, because we have a ton of UNLV listeners on the show. Does UNLV have the wherewithal financially to inject $100, $150, $200 million into their football program? Not athletics, into their football program.
Yeah.
That's an initial outlay is probably what it would take. It's not going to be cheap because you've got to pay for a lot more scholarships. You've got to pay for a lot more human infrastructure. Now, you have a great stadium set up, but you're leasing your stadium. You are paying per game to play at Allegiant Stadium.
But also, like, if you're UNLV is a great example. If you're UNLV, how can you go to all your local partners? Like, everybody from casinos to business owners to anybody who's got money. How can you go to them and say, hey, look, man, we're trying to take this step up into the Super League, and this is how it's going to benefit you. That's what UNLV and schools like that are going to have to sell to get the cash infusion from the local community. Because I'm telling you, it can't just be donors and just people who are typically around your program donating. That's not enough anymore. Like, you're going to need, like, if just as an example, if you could figure out how to get MGM, if you could figure out how to get the big boy casino guys in Vegas to help you through this process, you're going to have to show them how it benefits them in return.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying, like, we're no longer just talking about, well, Jimmy's going to show up and play some football games and, hey, you want to put your sign in the stadium? Like, that's not what we're talking about.
Dude, they're paying $2.5 million this year to rent Allegiant Stadium for 6 games.
Like,
I mean, that's a lot. I want to see great football played. What I don't want to see is G5 teams trying to compete financially with the big boys of college football, because it's not going to happen. And if you think about the money, I just showed $40 million on top of $2.5 million. Now you're at $42.5 million in costs that you're just cutting those checks every year.
So
can you at UNLV afford that?
No. And instead of doing that, and this is why I'm so adamant about the G5 having their own system, because if the G5 can opt out of this part, but through that process opt into, hey, we have our own system, this is how we're going to make money. It's not going to stretch our budgets 250% to do it. Like, that makes a lot more sense. And by the way, it's much healthier for the overall system, because even with the Super League coming in, the big boys still need the G5 on some level from a talent recruiting perspective. Do you understand how many kids come through the portal from G5 schools into power programs? Like, that relationship is there.
And who's one of the ones we know really well now? I don't know, Matt Sluka at UNLV.
Yeah.
Big programs don't have that problem. All I'm saying here is, listen, the ACC is, in my opinion now, based on people I've spoken to, is going to stay intact. The Super League is an ultimate reality. That's going to happen.
Yes.
And in my opinion, I think 85 to 90% of the G5 will opt out. 100% of the FCS will opt out, just on the inability to afford the cost. I think there's going to be some FBS that opt out. I think there will be a dozen shocking schools that opt out of the College Football Super League. And here's the question I ask. If you opt out of the Super League, do you qualify for the NCAA tournament?
Great question.
That's a huge, how does the Super League change the parameters of the NCAA tournament? Because are you telling me that Florida State is just going to be quiet about revenue now?
Well, I mean, I think it goes back to
that's not going to happen.
I think it goes back to the old Sankey clip that we've been playing, where he talks about, hey, we don't want to water down the quality of the Southeastern Conference as part of this Super League situation. And I think that thought about the basketball tournament kind of plays into what he was saying.
We don't want to take less because you have less. That's what he is saying right here when he talks about not lowering himself as the commissioner of the SEC. Listen to Greg Sankey's words, what he says about a Super League, and he's talking about the G5 here.
I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be part of some Super League notion with 70 teams that some people speculate would happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back to earth.
He's not. And I agree with him. If you're the SEC, you're going to make the decision here. If you're the SEC, you're not going to give more money away to the G5 because they can't financially compete and play in a Super League.
And I think, to what you were saying, you at that point you would have the leverage in a you got a bunch of guys in college football sitting around a table trying to figure this thing out. Greg Sankey and the commissioners in the Power Four would absolutely have the leverage to say, hey, bro, we're in the Super League. We're footing, $150 million bill or whatever to do this. What are we doing with the basketball tournament? Because if we're doing this in football, then why would we not do it in basketball? And I think those are the things, again, that the G5 is going to have to figure out. Like, I just think that this Super League thing, as necessary as it is, it's also divisive. But you can't look at it. You can't look at it and be like, well, the big boys are just trying to cancel out the G5. No, what the big boys are trying to do is play on their own account, essentially. They're basically just trying to play in their own sandbox, let the G5 do their thing. And if a G5, because I do think this is another angle on it, but if a G5 at some point down the line, wants to save money and step up into that, they can do that.
Dude, this is no different than the American economy.
Yeah.
Who gets rich when the economy struggles?
The rich.
Who gets rich when the economy's booming?
The rich.
This is no different. This is NIL, and these settlements are an opportunity. The G5 are looking at it as a problem. The P5 or the P4 are looking at it as an opportunity. They're going to push the G5 out, and they're going to take the lion's share of the revenue.
Yes.
And these 70 teams that play in the Super League, if that's what the number turns out to be, if these 70 teams that play in the Super League are willing to put that money up and you're not, that's just the simple reality of life. You can't afford the same house that I can afford.
Yeah,
and you can't drive the same car that I drive.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't have a house and you can't drive a car.
And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make your school a bad school.
And it does not make those 70 teams bad people. It just doesn't. And this idea that, and I want to say it was Phil Venzer or somebody on Twitter was just railing about how these kids are here for an education. Well, who are you to make that judgment?
Yeah.
Who are you to say to a kid, hey, you know what? That scholarship's enough.
Yeah.
Because it's that thinking that started this problem in the first place.
Yes.
These kids that they're getting paid with a scholarship, they're also walking away with debilitating lifelong injuries. They're also walking away with CTE and concussions. And what is it? 1.5%, 2% of kids that play in professional sports? How many female softball players get a paycheck to play softball after college?
Yeah, very few.
Almost none.
And the paycheck they would get is next to nothing.
Zilch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the sports that generate paychecks professionally, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, like you look at it, it's very few athletes in college. So I just don't understand why we believe that we should repress kids that have athletic ability because you don't want these universities to achieve. That's just not what we are ever going to be about.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And it's this idea that we have to have the same car as our neighbor. No, you don't. No, you don't. And if you would grasp this concept that comparison is the thief of joy, if you would grasp this concept that everybody ain't able and maybe they shouldn't be, you wouldn't be so pissed off about a Super League. Because I'm telling you now, if UNLV or Boise State or any other G5 is putting out $50 million extra a year on football alone, that's bad for the average non-athletic student at those universities, because that money's coming from somewhere. I just think we lack so much perspective because we want ours to be the best. It's not that you want yours to be the best. What you should be hoping for is that you do, that UNLV and all these other G5s do their very best and meet their maximum potential.
Yes.
That's what you should be hoping for. I'm sorry that you can't win a national championship if you're a G5 university today, because it ain't happening. But that doesn't mean you can't be the very best G5 program in the country.
Yep.
That's the reality of it. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. As always, the comment section presented by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Go ahead. Show me some Beethoven. I'm getting swooped in Prize Picks right now.
Yeah, you gotta be better, dude.
I'm on a run of just absolute Benjamin destruction, like Hundies going out the door.
Yeah, bro.
Last night, can I just no, leave it, let it play. Can I just tell you how much I hate the Kansas City Royals? Their barbecue in Kansas City is not good. QT, while it may be a great gas station and convenience store, and it is. Can I just tell you about my friend Seth Lugo last night?
Yeah, man, tell me about him because he did great for me.
All I needed Seth Lugo to do was strike out 5 Yankees. He did not do that. He struck out 2. Okay, so you POS Jose Quintana, when he was a Chicago Cub, all he did is pitch batting practice. What did he do on Prize Picks last night? Feel the sadness sinking in as though you're a G5 and wanting to be in the power conferences. Let it seep into your soul. Jose Quintana last night struck out 6 Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh,
you cowards.
Oh, my God, dude. Now, those of us who are playing Prize Picks well right now went the other way with this. Ranger Suarez, for more than 3 Ks, he had 5. Thank you very much. Your boy Seth Lugo, less than 4 Ks.
I hate you so much.
He hit on that. He had 2. Fernando Tatis, more than 1.5 total bases. He had 2. We're cooking, bro. We're cooking. We're good, man. We're good. We're chilling.
Barbecue in Kansas City sucks. It's overrated. The Chiefs get help from the officials. The Royals, nobody likes the Royals. Nobody cares. Nobody. Why couldn't the roof get ripped off the Royals Stadium? Oh, wait, they don't have a roof. My point is, I'm very bitter. I am on a streak right now. Well, I won 2 nights ago because Aaron Nola, an actual pitcher, not named Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
The Phillies are done, by the way.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, dude.
Are you guys watching the Major League Baseball playoffs? I love the Major League Baseball playoffs, and they have been so good. The Giancarlo Stanton story, him hitting that home run after that double last night, if you're not happy for Giancarlo Stanton, hate the Yankees, but the human story of what that cat's been through with his body, that guy can't trot without pulling a muscle.
Right.
Fantastic. And that it hurt the Kansas City Royals just makes me feel better as a person. So I think the playoffs have been amazing. I think what we're all concerned about, like in the American League, the Cleveland Guardians have just done exactly what we thought they would do.
Yeah, can they push it to a Game 5?
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I doubt it. I doubt it because I think that they're just over. It feels like they're overmatched offensively. And you are getting Bybee going tonight for Cleveland, and you need him. And he pitched well. He pitched well his last time out. 4 2/3, 4 hits. The problem is we're in a place in Major League Baseball where a quality start is no longer 6 innings.
No, it's
3
4
earned or less,
2/3, bro.
Yeah, it's 4 innings, and maybe you don't get lit up. And I think it's something where it's tough. This situation in San Diego, and you guys know I am a casual observer of those Padres.
Right.
Boycotting Ken Rosenthal is ridiculous. I don't know if you guys saw that. The San Diego Padres are refusing to speak to Ken Rosenthal on Fox because he wrote a piece that was critical of their behavior for The Athletic.
Uh-huh.
The Padres are showing you they're not ready to win. That, in my opinion, is what they're showing you. You, Darvish, will go back at Dodger Stadium on Friday night.
It's a huge game.
Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty.
That game's going to have a lot of runs in it, man. I'm just telling you now.
You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more. It's the single best daily fantasy promotion I've ever seen. And as difficult as Prize Picks has been this week for me, I love it. I'm passionate about it. I am going to come back and I am going to dominate everybody's world tonight. And I think we all know that's going to happen. And I'm going to dominate because I've got WNBA to fall back on tonight.
Yeah, no duh.
Because let's be honest, old Uncle Monty over here is only winning when I play some WNBA action.
I don't regret those decisions.
Yeah, I don't. Because I can't get baseball. We've got Thursday night football tonight.
Another scintillating matchup.
Another one.
You know,
I don't know how do you take less on Geno Smith tonight? 252.5 passing yards against those 49ers.
I want to believe that the 49ers are going to figure it out. I want to, but I'm not favoring them tonight, dude.
Can we stop firing coaches every time somebody loses a game? And we have an hour of NFL coming up, but can we stop firing every coach? Please stop being fire the coach guy, Monty. No. Calford for $4.99. Prize Picks has resurrected me after the heartbreak against Miami. Calford, how much do you hate the Miami Hurricanes right now? Cam Ward, like public enemy number one, right? Rowdy Runner. Monty needs to play the G5 in Prize Picks.
Right.
I truly
That's
do.
Right. That's right.
I can't afford to play in the Power Conference.
Does Ginty have a number this week on Prize Picks? He must. He
has to have a number.
Like, he must have a number, right? Like, let's.
The Heisman
really
Trophy
quick.
soon-to-be winner, Ashton Ginty of Boise State.
Where's my guy here? Okay, college football,
rushing yards.
Where's my guy here?
You try to find him. Mekhi Bernard's 92.5 yards tomorrow night against ASU. His demon number's 119.
Bro, are they on bye this week? Oh, I'm sorry. Are they idle this week?
Thank you.
Are they really?
They may be. I don't know. Is he not in Prize Picks?
No, let me look. Hang on.
The stadium guy, James. Miami Hurricanes, at least one team wearing orange is winning. James is an Oak State fan. And
you like how all the rumorville on Oak State Twitter is when Casey Dunn's going to get fired now? Everyone's speculating how long that's going to take.
It brings me so much joy that you guys have finally fallen to a place in your fandom where Oak State fan, I believe that you are feeling my greatness deep in the core of your bowels.
Yes.
And that is why you are calling for Casey Dunn to be fired, and you've come to the dark side.
No, they're playing this week, dude. Boise State plays Hawaii this week.
Why is Ginty not?
Why is he not having a line?
Picks?
That's wild, bro.
Yeah. Eric Wasikowski sounds like someone has a gambling problem. No, the problem is I don't gamble well. Playing cards, I'm fine. But I'm telling you right now.
Micah Bernard's 92.5 against Arizona State.
Guy, do you listen to I just said that.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was looking for a line. Sorry, dude. I was a little distracted. I was a little distracted.
Fact is, Kyle Shanahan has been to the Super Bowl like 10 or 11 years, but he lost a meaningless regular season game last Sunday. He clearly can't coach. Fire him.
Yeah, he's Garbo, dude.
Exactly right.
Garbo.
Exactly right. Fire him. Greatness. You said barbecue in Kansas City's bad. Oh, well, more for me. It is bad. People think, oh man, Kansas City barbecue. Their ribs suck in Kansas City. I've been to Kansas City 5 times in my life. Stopped in Kansas City on my way to Lawrence back in the day to watch Jayhawk basketball. The ribs are not good. The Smoke and Bones up in Bountiful here in Utah, that's barbecue. The barbecue in the state of Utah, 10 times better than in Kansas City.
Because it's garbage.
10 times better. Seth Lugo, how come you're not Julio Lugo, you jerk?
Hot ass.
I probably should stop. Bobby Witt Jr. I took him once. What did he do? Nothing. What did he do the next day?
A lot.
Caleb Aylmore. Dude, I'm so pissed that they didn't fire Dunn, especially after getting some sort of food poisoning from salad and go on Monday, might not ever eat salad again after that.
Hey, Mike, can you fix the Pepsi cooler known as Casey Dunn for us, please?
Caleb, dude, I'm feeling that. I have a friend of mine. I was chatting with a friend of mine yesterday on Google Chat, and this person's like, hey, I'll be right there. I'm in the bathroom with terrible diarrhea. Could have done without that. Just could have said, I'll be right there, and that would have been fine.
Yeah.
I just, yeah. Who gets food poisoning from salad?
Well,
I make it at home. The Big Lubbock, pew pew. I hope Oak State does not change a thing until after the Texas Tech game. Exactly right. All right. The Big Lubbock says, sorry, Monty, but I have a gut feeling that ASU will beat Utah.
First of all, he said, sorry, Marty.
Marty. Sorry, Marty.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Cam Rising.
Who?
I'm sorry. Scam Rising. You guys are such jerks. I mean, you guys, seriously, you guys are a bunch of hyenas.
Yeah.
Not Scam Rising. I know. Yeah, nice finger, scammer. So Cam Rising, the starting quarterback at Utah.
Yeah.
Did you put the Kyle Whittingham video in?
No, there wasn't video, dude. There wasn't video.
Kyle Whittingham.
I looked.
Do you do video on the show anymore or no?
Yeah,
not really?
I do.
Okay.
We
Just
have lots
checking.
of it.
Just checking. Kyle Whittingham said this week that basically, shut up. Cam Rising will play when he's ready.
He said what he said every week. He said, oh, hey, yeah, we're glad that Isaac is our backup and he can fill in. And when Cam's ready, he'll play. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he said. I mean, it's just, again, it's one of those things where people want to keep asking Kyle Whittingham about Cam Rising. And I don't like.
What did you say when you walked in here the other day?
I'm done talking about dude.
Jake is with a lot of other people who are tired of talking about Cam Rising. I think this is Isaac Wilson's team. I think that group in that locker room is fully aware that Cam Rising's an amazing quarterback. How good are you when you can't play?
Yeah.
Not very good at all. Your best ability is your availability. And I'm telling you, this game tomorrow night in Tempe, I think is a huge game for Utah.
And let's be on the same page about Cam. This would be a different conversation if he had gotten rolled up and it was clear that he had some gnarly sprain or like if it was a significant injury. But it looks worse because you got ran into a Gatorade cooler and people just have no idea what the extent of this injury is. Like, and I get it. Utah plays that close to the vest. I understand why. I get it. I don't blame him. All right, cool. I'm just telling you, when dude can sign autographs, but he can't play football, that's not a great look. It's not a great look.
Why bring up the autograph picture?
But it's the truth, bro. It's the dude is able to sign autographs of Caleb Williams, holding a football that says F Utah. So you're able to do this, but you're not able to play. And I'm not saying that Cam is somehow wanting to sit out. I'm sure dude wants to play more than anything. I don't doubt his tenacity or his want to, but what I'm saying is that when it's an injury to your throwing hand and every single week it's like, well, he's a game time decision, Monty. Like I'm just done playing that game. It's Isaac Wilson's team until Cam can come back.
But what is Kyle Whittingham supposed to do? Just not talk about it?
No,
he's being asked about it.
No, I don't blame Whit for having to answer the question. He can't. He can only answer what he's asked. But I'm just saying, like, the media wants to turn this into a thing, turn this into a situation.
Well, no, what they're doing is they are vilifying Cam Rising. That's what they're doing by obsessing over Cam Rising. You're vilifying him. You're turning him into a heel because this is exactly what happened last year with his knee injury. This is exactly what happened. And it's even on Josh Furlong, who covers the Utes for KSL here in Salt Lake City, the Ryan Smith owned and operated media entity. I'll stop. My point is, Josh Furlong, who covers the Utes for KSL, was even joking about this online. Well, because Cam Rising was on the practice field after practice was over the other day, trying to get himself ready to play this game this weekend. And the guys joked, yeah, how many times after practice last year did we see Cam Rising throwing, trying to get ready to play? It's the exact same scenario. It's not Cam Rising's fault that he can't stay healthy. It's not Cam Rising's fault that Baylor's a dirty football team that threw him into a Gatorade complex.
Yeah.
It's not Kyle Whittingham's fault that people are going to ask him about it. We tend to turn these kids into villains. Alan Bowman at Oklahoma State is all of a sudden some terrible person. No, he's just not a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Cam Rising, the problem is Cam's an elite quarterback. When he's healthy, he's arguably the best quarterback in the league. And yet he can't stay healthy. So now he's some kind of jerk because he can't stay healthy.
And I also think that there's a bunch of urgency around it because it's his last year.
Yeah, and they're supposedly a college football playoff team.
So they're sitting here grinding away, losing games to Arizona they shouldn't lose. And we're sitting here wondering, are you going to beat ASU? I mean, obviously, you're way better than ASU is.
I would think so.
Obviously, ASU is not nearly as good as Arizona is. But I think that the natural human instinct is to feel frustration when there's questions about someone's availability. I think and again, I'm not suggesting Utah should do this. I'm just simply saying this is why people ask, because Utah says, well, it's a game time decision when clearly he was never going to play. I mean, well,
then what was he throwing in warmups for? I think he was a game time decision. I think he is a game time decision. I think they have an idea of if he'll be able to play or not.
I disagree. This week he's a game time decision legitimately. I think against the prior couple of games here, I don't think he was ever going to play. I think he suited up. I think he was throwing because they didn't want to.
I think they wanted him to play against Oak State. I think they were hoping he could play against Oak State. And I think I trust Kyle Whittingham. He's never spoken openly about injuries, nor should he.
Right. I agree with that.
Ask Dak. It's HIPAA. This is not the NFL as much as you guys want to paint it to be. There's no reason for Kyle Whittingham to detail what's going on with Cam Rising.
And I agree with that, which is why my opinion is they're taking advantage of this as best that they can. They're positioning it, again, in prior weeks, because I do think it's different this week. I do think that all the reporting out of guys like Josh and everyone who covers the Utes say that he's practicing as best as he's practiced all season long, that he looks a lot better, like that he's passing the eye test this week, like the throw looks better. So this week, I do think
I saw that eye test.
Yeah, this week, I think he's a legitimate game time decision. But my opinion is the last couple of weeks, I don't believe that he was actually having any chance to play. I think they positioned him as a game time decision so that the people they were playing, Oak State and everybody else, didn't know who was going to start.
Right.
And then when you rolled out with Isaac Wilson, and everyone commented on this, oh my God, the broadcast is shocked. Well, the folks who cover this team were like, yeah, well, we're not really shocked. Like, dude couldn't really throw a football. Like, we remember talking about that. So I'm not criticizing it. I'm not even saying they're doing it wrong. What I'm saying is that
what you're saying is you're tired of it.
I'm tired of the cat and mouse game. Like, I'm tired of that dynamic. What I want to talk about is the fact that the Big 12 is desperate, has to have it where Utah wins this league and goes to the college football playoff. Because if they don't have it, they're not doing anything in the playoff. I love what Iowa State's doing. You're not the Utes when the Utes are at their best.
Why do you hate Iowa State?
I don't hate Iowa State.
What did the city of Ames, Iowa ever do to you?
They didn't put an offense on the field. That's what they did. They didn't put an offense on the field. They're a defensive team who at their best doesn't score enough points.
The Big 12 lacks compelling storylines. I would agree, and I think that they're going to get one team in. I don't see a path for them to get two in. I would agree with that. Wreck 'em. Aaron Wilson, Lubbock's favorite mailman. Pew, pew. Good to see you, Aaron. Calford, $10 more. As much as I despise the Canes right now, I can also recognize that their success in the playoff benefits the conference and the Bears in the long run. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The stadium guy, James, for $5. My sources saying Oak State will make changes on their O-line. P.S. Cam will be back against ASU. Utah with Cam is the best in the Big 12. Now James has sources.
I'm just putting it out here on Thursday. I'm not buying anything about Cam Rising playing a football game until
That's
he
right.
walks out there.
I'm not.
It's Isaac Wilson starting this game until Cam shows me he's ready to play.
And if you are somebody that is going to pick this game, you're going to pick it with the belief that Isaac Wilson's going to start at quarterback.
Yes.
Because Cam's not starting until Cam is starting.
I don't know. Do you happen to know what the line is off the top of your head?
Yeah,
I haven't
4.
looked at it. It's 4. Yeah. I mean,
it's the whole show. It's been just 44 and a half. Jake ain't listening to old Uncle Marty.
I was looking for something. If
ain't
you brought
looking
that
at
up
the
while I was
graphics
looking
packet.
for something, man.
No, it's fine. Maury Alvarez, hello. We have all the powers. Ooh, you have power. That's great.
That's
I'm
great,
glad
dude.
to hear that. Calford with 10 more Monty Show. Appreciate that. Eric and Raleigh, Oak State is going to make the old O-line guys build new luxury boxes. I believe they are.
Right.
Upper decks.
Yeah, they're going to put them to work,
Upper decks. Jeremiah Sullivan says, hit the like button. Hello, Jeremiah. We are 1,000 deep and we only have 46 likes. Come on now. Come on
hit the
now.
like button.
Make sure you hit the like button. Chrissy, he will show up healthy for the Holy War game. How long does a finger injury take? I think it's multiple things. I think there is a gash on his finger. I believe that has led to swelling. And what happens when a joint is swollen? What happens is you're not able to move and use that joint. And when it is your ring finger, your middle finger specifically, that makes it very difficult to grip a football.
Yeah, and Chris, with all due respect, it'd be better than the second part of this comment. He wasn't barely shoved out of bounds.
Did you see the play?
Like
he was driven in there. So much so that we have all been debating whether there needs to be more clearance on the sideline.
I mean, he's 2 steps out of bounds already.
He didn't run into the Gatorade stand. He was driven with a double-handed shove in the back of the box when in the back when he was 2 yards out of bounds. It was a dirty play, and it was not. He just tripped and fell. He was driven into that Gatorade stand.
Yeah.
Come on. If you've seen the play, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Caleb Aylmore, there isn't any real sources. They fired the O-line coach instead of Dunn. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they did. Jay McClanahan, Coal Rush weekend should be good one with West Virginia, Iowa State.
Yeah, those uniforms are sweet, bro.
They are. I agree. The Big Lubbock. The Big 12 can get 2 teams in if BYU goes undefeated up to the Big 12 championship game, which is not going to happen, and loses the Big 12 championship game. BYU gets an at-large bid. There's a long way to go. And I love my friends at BYU. You should not be talking about going undefeated. You should be talking about winning this weekend.
Next game mentality.
That's all you should be talking about. That's it. You should be talking about beating Arizona. That's the entirety of the conversation. Because if you're worried about what's going to happen 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks from now, you're not going to win another game. There's no going undefeated. It's win the game this week. The stadium guy, James, I hurt my ring finger when I was a teenager. It took 4 weeks for me to fully recover.
Yeah, and look, hear me clearly. I'm not saying that Cam is soft. That's not what I'm saying. I get it, dude. He was driven into a Gatorade cooler and cut his hand open.
Yeah.
And it's his throwing hand. If this was his other hand, he'd already be playing. They just tape that thing up and he'd be fine. But throwing a football is not like throwing a baseball or anything else. You need dexterity in your hand to throw the football.
I don't agree with this notion, and I see it in the comment section that Cam Rising's injury prone. Do you guys understand the magnitude of the knee injury that he had 2 years ago? Do you understand that he tore pretty much everything you can tear, including cartilage, out of his knee? He missed all of last year. It was 600 days, I think it was, between football games. And then a dirty play hurts his hand against Baylor. Come on. But where is it? But I ask just in curiosity, where'd all the Baylor fans go?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You didn't beat
where's
BYU.
Patrick Bourne and
who said that BYU was not good? And
yeah, where's first team 8-ball at?
Toughen up, Cam. It's tackle football, not flag football. Okay. Fat old Mormon and dying. I think Cam would get hurt playing flag football too. Okay. Caleb Aylmore, Oklahoma State, unfortunately going to play spoiler after being hot ass.
They are, dude.
Is that the drop that is sweeping America now?
Hot ass.
The Oklahoma State fan coming out of the stadium, and apparently
Because this team is just hot ass.
He's apparently he's a radio host in Stillwater or Oklahoma and I mean it is good. Did you guys see that? Certainly you've seen the video sweeping the country. The sensation.
I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to scream. There's no point to, because this team is just hot ass. They're terrible. It makes no sense. It's inexplicable. Casey Dunn, Brian Nardo are both equally as bad. Alan Bowman isn't good. Zane Flores is either hurt, he isn't any good, or Mike Gundy just hates us all.
I've been telling you for how long that Mike Gundy hates you.
And I just want to point this out. That's
Guy's a
only
legend.
30 seconds of like a 5-minute rant.
And his beard.
Yeah.
I mean, wearing a Pokes hat, sign the guy up.
Yeah, man.
DK for $5. The problem for the Big 12 with the college football playoff is they aren't viewed as not even being close to the SEC and the Big 10 as far as strength and depth. I would agree.
Yeah.
The ACC, the same. Florida State, as much as they say they run that house, yeah, they're debilitating the ACC right now.
Yep.
They truly are. Force goes Fabio. Gatorade Cooler has decided to redshirt and will hit the transfer portal. I've heard that.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
I've heard that. Sorry, my English ability left me in that super chat. What do you mean? If they are viewed as not even being close to the SEC and the Big 10 as far as strength and depth go, I think your English skills are amazing. I am Mayor McCluskey in the hizzy.
What's up, buddy? How's that Amazon gift card treating you?
Good to see you, dude. Yeah, he won the Amazon gift card yesterday. You sent it to him?
Yeah.
Sup, Mayor? Chris C., at this point, Cam is like AD. Whenever the Lakers see any contact, they know he's going to be out for weeks. Why are you hating on my guy, Anthony Davis?
Harsh, dude.
Why are you hating on the best defensive player in the NBA?
That's a little harsh, my guy.
After the street closed Davis.
The basketball season hasn't even started. And Chrissy is already in here taking shots at my Lakers.
His standards don't matter.
Well, my Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, but nobody's really a fan of the Chicago Bulls.
No.
They're just...
Yeah, first team all under 15.
You know. The stadium guy, James... My sources tell me Zane Flores has an injured foot. He won't be playing this year.
Wow.
Okay. His beard is on point. It is. Tanner Plummer, hello. Give that Okie State the head coach
That's
job.
what I'm saying, dude.
Okay. Snooka. Good morning, friends. Go Cougs. I agree. Fang Joker. Cam Rising would hurt his finger giving this video a like.
Yeah, Fang's a hater.
Oh, ow, my finger. Oh. Well, Fang, make sure you give it a like and let us know how your finger turned out. Let's see what I did there. Caleb Aylmore, where's the FSU fan that said he would eat dog poo anyway? The curse isn't lifted still. I think our track record for running fan bases off this show is undefeated.
Incredible, dude.
Because remember the red-ass Florida State fans who are like, Monty, you don't know what you're talking about. We're winning this lawsuit.
What an idiot.
That contract with ESPN is full of lies.
There's corruption and they colluded.
I'm here for you. Go ahead. Where are you guys?
Do you guys want to do the show today?
Anybody?
Tough crowd today, huh?
At least Oak State fan is still here, which is why I love you guys. Mayor McCluskey, thank you for the gift card. Bought myself a Scam Rising shirt, but it's not going to show up.
Dude remains undefeated.
That's my BYU
Absolutely
fan.
Undefeated.
That's my BYU fan. The resident BYU fan, Mayor McCluskey. It's so good to have you back on the show. You're going to root for the Lakers over the Spurs. Why do you hate Wembanyama? I'm not rooting for the Lakers. I'm a casual. I'm a casual observer of the Lakers.
Yeah.
See, I'm just not the guy that hates LeBron James.
Well, Monty, VW is better than Braun.
I was talking to this guy Rob the other day, who's a listener of the show and says he'll be back for NBA talk. Rob vehemently hates LeBron James because he left Cleveland.
The land.
Twice.
Who are you, Florida State? Not once, but twice?
And it was an argument I was having with him. He's one of our Ohio State guys. But he's like, I burned my jersey. And I said to him, did that make you feel better? And he's like, no, but it had to be done.
Sometimes, okay, maybe.
It had to be done.
Did it have to be done? Because what's going to happen when the Cavs retire his number? And they will.
They will.
Are you going to burn your diploma?
The Cavs, the Heat, the Lakers.
And what did Rob say to me in DM? Don't call me an Oregon State fan. Too late. Too late. It's the truth. Phil Venzer, I can't stand basketball. It's hockey. Bad news. I'm a passionate NBA fan.
Yeah.
Love it. I wish
Don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't do it. Next comment.
How come I couldn't be born in like LA, New York, like a city where they win things? A city where they win things.
It's really despicable.
I'm a Chicago fan. Go Dogs. Hey, what's going on, Jim? Good to see you. Force goes, Fabio, we need to hire Dog the Bounty Hunter to find FSU fan and end the curse. You do? Mr. Preston. Bro. I almost murdered my Scotty Cameron putter yesterday because of you. I think about you every day, Mr. Preston, when I am trying to figure out why sometimes the tailgate goes up and sometimes it doesn't with a broken arm.
Which is, just kind of weird.
I go to the range last night to grind on my PXG driver. So, of course, I leave the Scotty Cameron prized possession in the trunk in the back of my Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
Without noticing that the wrist lock grip is sticking out the side.
Oh, my God, dude.
And so I'm pushing the thing down and I see it and I pulled it back up and all of a sudden the thing just goes up on its own. And I was like, yeah, screw you, Preston. I'm not fixing a thing. I need to get my Jeep to you so you can, because I can't do it anymore. I have, you guys, so I drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee Summit. Beautiful truck. The power arm that lifts up the tailgate, it's broken. It doesn't work anymore for whatever reason. It's broken because it's just who I am.
Right.
My wife bought me another one on Amazon and Preston's like, oh yeah, bring it over. It'll take 20 minutes. That was 6 months ago.
Literally.
It's still sitting on my kitchen table back at the house. It's your fault. And his name is John Cena. Go Mets. Sources. Exactly. So how about my hate of Francisco Lindor? And yesterday I refused to pick him on Prize Picks. What did he do?
They're calling it the swing of his lifetime.
Shut up.
Dude had the swing of his lifetime and you didn't take him on premise.
I should stop. I should just stop. Brandon Butler, BYU fans over here flying like Lacaris. I don't know who that is. Is that a deity? Diddy retired LeBron's number.
Okay. Well, Marty, there's a video of Diddy and LeBron hanging out at his baby oil parties.
Okay. That's fine. Snooka, is it possible Utah might get an MLB team? Please, God.
Please. I'm driving to my house the other day, and they've got some of this new stadium they're building up now. I'm just like, bro, what are we doing?
They've got the new stadium up. It's almost done.
Like, what are we doing?
The outer shell of the Daybreak Stadium where they're putting the AAA Angels team.
Yeah, the former Great Gamblers, AAA affiliate.
They're pretty much done. I mean, the outer shell is almost done. It's going to destroy. Yeah, it's fine. Mr. Preston, they have medication for that. Thank you.
They do.
Calford. Well, it goes up on its own. I don't have, trust me when I say the power articulating arm goes up on its own. I almost burned my Berkeley diploma after last Saturday.
You're a homer is the first part.
So for all of the new people on this show, Oregon State fan, when the Pac-12 melted down and they got screwed, because Oregon State got screwed, they were like, I'm burning my jersey. I am burning my diploma. I am pounding that beaver.
They were so pissed.
Oh, my God.
They were so pissed that they were intentionally getting themselves banned on YouTube by putting emojis in the chat.
Dude,
Like,
was wild. Well played, Calford. There's a video where he says there ain't no party like a Diddy party. Okay.
dude, if you want to, if you think that Braun was out here doing that stuff, that's on you, man.
Yeah. Nice call back to the Lunatic Beaver fan. Was such a good time on the show.
Yes.
Mike Smith's a long time. He remembers that.
Yes.
It was about a year ago.
Back when we were sweating in the old studio and,
where we had no air conditioning. We were in an office tower and they couldn't control the air conditioning in our room.
Somehow.
Jay McClanahan, Washington State listener who was burning his diploma and not watching any more games. Pure electric.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Good times, man. JTM. Maybe we could get 50, 60 teams that can afford it. No problem. Then the other 10, 20 that's on the edge, maybe they can get half a share. Well,
yeah, we'll see.
Everybody ain't able, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong about that, JT. Big Daddy Magic.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Okay, so Big Daddy Magic.
Victor's the way.
Will not leave me alone about buying him a long sleeve red Buffalo Bills t-shirt.
Big Daddy Magic, the heavyset one with the big gun with the sweet tongue.
That's your guy. He's DMing me now. Like, let's make a bet. If you win, Jake has to buy you a nice meal. If I win, you have to buy me a Buffalo Bills shirt.
This is your beloved.
What about you?
Yeah, what are you contributing, bro?
Hey, player, Victor is better than AD. Please never play Cena drop again. Big Daddy Magic's a huge wrestling fan.
And his name is John Cena.
Sorry, I had to play it on premise alone. My bad.
So I walk into the studio this morning and Jake is over here like bent over laughing. Like, I'm like, dude, I just got here, man. What could be so funny? And he turns his MacBook Pro spaceship around. And it's videos of Vince McMahon sexually harassing WWE employees in the ring on Monday Night Raw.
Like 90s wrestling videos.
And Jake's like, this would never fly today. I'm like, yeah, I know he's being accused of sex trafficking.
Bro.
We get it.
It would.
And now watching those videos in light of what's being alleged against Vince McMahon, you're like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Not good. Eric in Raleigh. Put your emotions aside, Marty. You got to prize pick the guy who needs to be prize picked. That's what I'm saying.
It's just so rich that you thought Lugo would have more strikeouts and you didn't take Lindor on premise. And then what happened. I mean, that's just incredible.
So how much have I lost on prize picks to Kansas City athletes this week? Bobby Witt, Xavier Worthy, you punk. And now Seth, don't call me Julio Lugo.
Right.
It's brutal. Brutal. Lacaris Monty, who flew too close to the sun and died. Okay.
Okay.
I don't read books. Maury Alvarez. Hey, two holes. BYU is going to smash Arizona like Milton did Florida. Wow.
Hey,
wow.
two holes.
Are you? That is way too soon.
But he can say that because he's a Floridian.
Yes, Maury lives in Florida.
We show up.
Wow. Force Ghost Fabio. Akaris, the boy who flew too close to the sun. T-O-O.
Okay, we get it. This guy took a Tesla to the sun and died.
There's a heater. T-O-O, close to the sun and died. Okay, there. T-H-E-I-R. Phil Fenzer. It's been 3 years and not one Oregon State fan has ever been right about anything, ever, and forever on this show. That awkward guy. All I'm saying is that there is a preponderance of evidence that LeBron is a bit suspicious. I'm not.
Bro, how much effort and energy have you put into LeBron being in the Diddy ring?
How many people are on the Epstein flight log that are? Are you kidding me?
If you're following the cycle, we're already getting attorneys for Diddy saying that celebrities are paying people off to not be publicly outed.
Yeah, Fat old Mormon and dying. Big Daddy Magic is the all-time great on the show. He is. Friend of the program. Magic. Friend of the program. Speaking of which, BDM. Hey, playa, you just wait until Christmas and see your Christmas present. He sent me a video on Insta Snapface the other day.
Hey, Marty.
Hey, Marty. Do you own a safe? You look like a kind of guy that'll own a safe. I'm like, what? He said that, and I literally looked down. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, that's right. My body is a temple, and it's full of gold. I don't know. You better have a safe. Put it in. Okay. I'm always safe, but nope.
No diddy.
Nope. Eric and Durham. Where are the Rays going to play next season? Montreal? No, they'll play.
Not in that building, bro.
They just got to fix the roof.
That's just the roof. It's just a $200,000 check. Don't worry about it.
They've been trying to get out of Tampa for how long? It's wild. Force Ghost Fabio. Monty knows licorice, not Icarus. I would agree. I don't like licorice.
No.
You know, it's fine. All right. Let's switch gears, talk a little NFL. Because we got to get into this Aaron Rodgers thing.
Okay, first of all, in the comments section, do you like Aaron or do you hate Aaron? Because that's the kind of guy this is. We need to establish that first. Aaron Rodgers is somebody you either like or you hate. You either think it's cool that he goes into the dark and craps himself on ayahuasca, or you think that's really stupid. Like, where are you guys at on this?
Why didn't you go with his family hates him too?
Well, because that's down the line. You know, the darkness stuff is weirder. That to me takes the cake.
So I am not an Aaron Rodgers fan, even though he owns the city of Chicago. Like I've seen the deed and trust. I am not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think he doesn't win. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, who is the singular reason the Packers don't have multiple championships. And so let me get this right. You trade for Aaron Rodgers. He's the reason that your team fell apart last year. He's been the reason you've been bad. Bobby Saleh showed up at the facility after another terrible loss, gets fired 5 minutes after he demoted Hackett, who is Aaron Rodgers' guy. And you don't think Aaron Rodgers had any role in that? And Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to play you this bite in a minute. Aaron Rodgers yesterday said he took it personally that people were accusing him of firing Bobby Saleh. Woody Johnson, the owner of the JETS, Jets, said yesterday that he did talk to Aaron Rodgers. Of course I talked to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers yesterday went on the Pat McAfee show and said this.
As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was, one of those days yesterday.
One of those days.
Oh, you resent any accusation. Well, if you resent them, they must not be true. Aaron Rodgers has been a problem his entire career.
Yeah.
He's, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is high maintenance. In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is not worth the problems. The juice is not worth the squeeze on Aaron Rodgers, if you will. I would not have him on my football team.
Yeah, well, I just think that people like to characterize this guy as the greatest quarterback of his generation. And, he's been incredible. And I just don't think that's true. Has he had a Hall of Fame caliber career? Certainly. But the Hall of Fame and his candidacy for that is not an excuse for being a coach killer, as I call him, because the fact is he did get Mike McCarthy fired in Green Bay. He did. That happened. And then he left Green Bay to go to the Jets to chase a Super Bowl. And obviously, he didn't roll up to the Jets saying, yeah, I'm going to tear my Achilles and not play. I mean, obviously. But you have the injury, and you've just been this thing, this pariah might be strong, but just
you are a
issue.
Cloud hanging over that organization.
In any organization that you've been a part of.
He is, and I guess the right way and the question to ask here, If you're the owner of the Jets and you're going to fire Bobby Saleh, do you not call Aaron Rodgers? Okay, let's say he didn't call him for the purpose of firing Bob Saleh. But didn't you call Aaron Rodgers and say, how are things? How do you feel like the team's doing? Hey, what's your thoughts on Bobby? Hey, Bobby called me last night, Aaron, and he said he's going to take play calling abilities away from your guy, Nathaniel Hackett. What do you think of that? Is there anybody who believes Aaron was like, yeah, that's the right thing to do? And, as you saw on the sideline a couple of weeks ago, Bobby and I are tight. Like, that's my guy.
Yeah, we hugged it out, dude.
I just respect the hell out of Bobby. Who thinks that's what happened? Or, let's get crazy. Aaron Rodgers said to Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, yeah, that prick doesn't know what he's doing on offense. He should butt out of it. And I'm telling you now, if he takes the play calling away from Nate, I'm going to have a real problem with it. So do some math. My team sucks. My quarterback is pissed off at the head coach. We can't score points, and the head coach doesn't know anything about offense. And now I'm about to lose the iconic star of my team, who I paid a boatload to get here. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Bobby's out.
And now, because all this has happened, it's been so well documented. Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to run motion pre-snap.
No,
and
he does
everyone's
not.
talking about it.
No, he does not.
And so all of that's happened and is true. And at the same time, Woody's got to sit here and say, yeah, man, my quarterback doesn't want to get with the times, doesn't want to run motion, doesn't want to run play action, doesn't want to do these things. And his guy, Nathaniel Can't Hackett in the NFL, is not getting the job done with the scheme and the plan we're running.
Schemers.
So I have to sit here and fire Bob and just hope to God that first team all ayahuasca and Can't Hackett can figure this thing out.
But did you guys hear what Jeff Ulbrich, the new head coach of the Jets, said yesterday? And we don't have the clip, but he said that he essentially said Aaron Rodgers is the offensive coordinator. Aaron Rodgers likely did not say to Woody Johnson, you're fired. You're fired. Okay. But isn't this the same thing as I'm immunized? Isn't this the exact same thing? Where Aaron Rodgers, when asked if he had been vaccinated, said, yeah, I'm immunized.
Yeah, I've been immunized.
And then on the Pat McAfee show over the summer, said, oh, I said that intentionally because the media is stupid. They don't even know what immunized means. Yeah, I didn't tell him to fire Bobby, but it's not like I supported the guy. Isn't this the exact same thing?
Yes.
I'm telling you it is.
Yes.
It is the exact same thing.
Yes.
And I agree. Robert Saleh should not be the head coach of any NFL team. I want him, when the Bears fire Eberflus, please, if there is a McCaskey listening to me in heaven, hire Bobby Saleh to be the defensive coordinator. Right after you hire Bobby Slowick to be the head coach of the Bears.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Robert Saleh can coordinate my defense every day of the week. He just can't be my head coach. And if I'm the Jets, I'm doing everything I can. There's only one candidate for any team that has offensive issues or has a young quarterback or cares about scoring points, and his name is Bobby Slowick, and he's currently the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
And if he ain't it, Ben Johnson in Detroit.
Yeah.
But I am not going to hire a defensive guy to be my head coach ever, even if there's a fire in the NFL. I'm not hiring a defensive guy to be my head coach. This is an offensive league predicated on success at the quarterback position. Done. That's the whole conversation.
So no, Aaron, I don't give a damn if you resent the accusations or allegations.
It's wild.
Because I have a pretty good idea of what happened here based on your track record and based on the situation that brought you to the New York Jets. And the idea that this guy wants to, and this is, I have to say, this is why I'm not a big Pat McAfee guy. This right here. And I understand.
I knew this was coming.
From Pat's side, why this is good for his show. I get that. I respect that. hey, it's Aaron Rodgers talking about the Jets. Of course, we want to have him on the show. I get that. My problem is that the style of conversation, and really it's not a conversation, putting Aaron on to just let Aaron spew about whatever the hell he wants to talk about, I don't respect that. You're not asking him any type of follow-up question.
I would agree.
You're not digging in on what he's actually saying. So Aaron, you're saying you don't have any power, that people think you have more power than you actually have. So how would you characterize your influence in the Jets organization?
Aaron said on Pat McAfee yesterday, it's amazing the power people think I have. He wants to be blameless here. Aaron, you're not blameless.
You don't get to be the quarterback and
Doesn't
not be
work that way.
blameless.
And you look at these coaches across the NFL, and yes, I'm going to go right back to the Cleveland Browns.
As you should.
Should you fire Kevin Stefanski? No. Do you think that guy accidentally won the Coach of the Year twice in the last 5 years? No, it wasn't accidental. Kevin Stefanski, they're talking about him giving up play calling duties to Ken Dorsey. That's the wrong thing to do.
What do you make of, I agree it's the wrong thing to do. What do you make of the rumor out of Cleveland that Kevin is being forced to play Deshaun? That hey, they paid him, ownership's not letting him go to James.
I think it's really dangerous to make that assumption. And I understand that ownership has a massive go back. Wind the clocks back.
Let's wind the clocks back a year.
To when you traded for Deshaun Watson. Do you think that Kevin Stefanski was like, hell yes? No. I'm guessing hell yes wasn't the answer.
Well, who did you have playing quarterback for you at that time? And remember what happened.
And if you say his name, I will do nothing bad.
Joe?
No.
I'm Mr. Clutch Flacco, dude.
No. Who was your quarterback at that time? Or who were you coming out of? Baker Mayfield. Who does every Cleveland Browns fan want to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns today? Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield. And I don't understand. And Browns fans are a long-suffering fan base. But pining for Baker Mayfield is a terrible place to go. It's the wrong thing to do. You've got to make this right with Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski. And again, I'm just going to say, Andrew Berry is a phenomenal executive. Kevin Stefanski is a phenomenal offensive mind. They don't have an offensive line. Nick Chubb is not healthy, at least not yet. I was listening to Kevin Stefanski yesterday talk about Nick Chubb's progress. He's doing more in practice. But you don't have your weapons. And I think the single biggest problem now is you've been so bad, Deshaun Watson, that you don't believe in yourself anymore. And a lot of his issues are tied to the offensive line, a lack of production. I think whatever the dysfunction in the play calling is, because you look at the situation in Cleveland, you've got Kevin Stefanski calling plays and Ken Dorsey in his ear. And Stefanski said yesterday that there is a collaborative effort in play calling, which tells me that they're having conversations while the game is going on, as they should, but there is not a clear consensus about what play to run, and Kevin Stefanski's got to tell Ken Dorsey to shut up and call the play. And Deshaun Watson needs to run the play to the best of his ability when it's called and get it in. This idea that Deshaun Watson walked away and he quit on the team. There were 12 guys on the field. What did you want him to do? Because you can't burn the timeout there.
Can't take the timeout.
But what I don't want him to do is slouch off the field.
Yeah.
And perception's reality.
Yes.
But when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, you're not firing Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski.
No.
They're not the ones. I would assume they were two of the people that were like, yeah, Deshaun Watson, I'm not so interested. Just the off-field stuff, yeah, I'm not so interested. He settled more lawsuits, I'm not so interested. But this is the hand you've been dealt. The money he is owed, You're not getting out of that. And the guy who doesn't know anything at Fox Sports saying that, oh, they should package their own first round pick this year. Are you out of your mind? If you believe the Cleveland Browns would be better by packaging their own first round pick and eating Deshaun Watson's salary to get somebody to take it, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Because the thing that Cleveland Browns fans don't want to recognize is Deshaun Watson has shown you flashes.
Yes.
If you had an offensive line and if you had a running back and if you didn't have balls hitting receivers in the chest.
Amari.
And I understand Deshaun Watson has not been good. And at times, this past weekend, he was terrible. But he's not the biggest issue. He's not top 3 issues. I think the play calling and whatever the communication issues are in the coaching staff that allowed 12 guys to be on the field, that's your number one single biggest issue.
Couldn't agree more.
Because I see a football team right now that doesn't have a direction. It doesn't have a direction. So they don't know what they're fighting for. They don't know where the brick wall is they're supposed to be running through.
What's the mission?
So I'm not firing Kevin Stefanski, and I'm certainly not firing Andrew Berry. And you need to lean into Deshaun Watson because we've seen enough to know he can still do the job. And it shocked Dan Orlovsky on ESPN the other day pronouncing his career over. Deshaun Watson career over, done. Shocking.
Yeah, I think that. So I like Dan Orlovsky a lot.
I do.
I like what he does. I think he's a brilliant football mind. I think that Dan went down the path too far with Deshaun. I agree with Dan's analysis of the tape in terms of what the football tape's telling you is wrong with the team and where they could improve.
Yes.
But what I don't agree with is that those issues on the tape are all on Deshaun. Is he missing open receivers?
Yes.
But why? Why is he missing open receivers? Hey, by the way, do other quarterbacks in the league miss open receivers? Yes. And why? Because they're under pressure. They are running. They are not having time to go through the progression. Do you honestly think, in your heart of hearts, Deshaun Watson forgot how to go through a progression and understand how to move a safety?
But it's even more of, why is he holding the ball so long? Deshaun Watson tends to hold the ball so long. Is it, as Cleveland Browns fan would tell you, he's trying to play hero ball? No, it's not. I think Deshaun Watson is holding the ball so long because he's not looking downfield. So it's taking him longer to get through the progression because what is his first instinct? Hey, where is the next assassin coming from?
What do I see on the defense? Where's the pressure coming from? And how little time do I have to get away from that pressure to try to create a positive play? So, yes, Deshaun, the tape says on a surface level, Deshaun's missing wide open receivers, and Deshaun is not the guy he used to be or any semblance of that. But furthermore, if we're honest about it, what the tape really says is the leadership in the organization is not organized. The lack of a running back room is absolutely killing you in these games. The defense, I'm telling you, turn on a Browns game the next couple of weeks and watch what the defense does, dude. It's not rocket science, man. The defense is right up against you. They have no fear of anything you're going to do. So they're just suffocating you and you have no time to do anything.
Because your best offensive linemen are on the shelf, as is your best running back. And that's a tough way. It's a tough way to go.
So the easy button of, hey, fire everybody and cut Deshaun and package him with picks and trade his ass, that's not living in reality.
So who are the coaches that could get fired? Are you firing? Is Carolina already going to move on from Dave Canellis? I think that's definitely a possibility.
It's a conversation you have to have.
That they will have, I would not. Is Cincinnati going to fire Zach Taylor?
No.
You don't think so?
No, and he shouldn't be fired. No.
Ooh. That seems disappointing.
Yeah, but I also see again that, like, yes, are they disappointing? Yes, but look at what's led to the disappointment. It's not like the guy is just like the organization just has massive dysfunction. You messed around with Jamar's contract. That was a distraction in training camp.
Did he get paid? He didn't get paid yet.
They didn't pay him yet. Well,
I don't think so.
still just, I'd have to confirm that. I don't know.
Did he get paid?
Maybe I got that wrong. But if he didn't get paid, that's still a distraction. If he did get paid, you took too long to pay him. And my point is, Zach Taylor is not the reason you're not doing well. The reason you're not doing well is Joe Burrow's recovery through this wrist thing and situations taken longer than you wanted it to take.
No, Jamar did not get paid.
So Jamar hasn't been paid yet. Joe Burrow's wrist is not 100%, although improving.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be moving on from Zach yet. Zach has shown you an ability to lead a team to the playoffs and be a real problem for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mike McCarthy.
No, I wouldn't fire Mike.
They're gonna.
Because that's what Jerry does.
Sean Payton.
No, you're not firing Sean Payton.
By
the way, you want to talk about a quarterback relationship? What did Bo Nix do in the presser? He joked around about that interaction. For all you, hey, they were yelling at each other and it's burning down in Denver. What did Bo do? He put all that to bed.
Yeah.
He put it all to bed. They're just fine.
Shane Steichen, Indianapolis. You're not going to fire him yet. Doug Peterson, Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's a guy that should probably be fired. Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, I'd fire him.
Yeah.
In over his head. Sean McVay with the Rams. You don't fire him, you agree to part company.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. Not now.
No, you're thriving.
Before the season?
Yeah.
Dennis Allen in New Orleans.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing better than people thought you would.
I think it's close. Brian Daboll with the Giants.
No, you're not firing him.
You're not?
No, because they're playing well.
Nick Sirianni in Philly.
Yeah, I'd fire him, yeah.
You would?
Yeah, I would.
Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Not firing Kyle Shanahan.
Absolutely not. I would
the guy, and this is why I say, like, whether it's the Deshaun thing, Kyle Shanahan, whoever you want to look at, before you hit the fire buddy button, you need to make sure that it's actually his lack of performance holding the team back. And I don't believe that Kyle Shanahan's the reason they're not winning ball games.
I would agree with that. You can't tell me he's the one that decided to trade for CMC.
But again, everyone's saying that, oh, well, CMC is, what the hell were they thinking? Dude, they went to the Super Bowl last year because of them.
It's not what the hell are you thinking? It's the contract you paid him and the fact that the guy's always been hurt and he's always going to be hurt. And you knew this was an eventuality and you have no backup plan.
Yeah.
You're decimated. And now you have fans wondering if Brock Purdy's the guy in San Francisco, which I think is ridiculous.
Agreed.
I think it's ridiculous. You have a bunch of dudes that you look at Debo, always hurt.
Is it
CMC always hurt?
Is it lost on NFL fans that there are years where you're still a good team, but it's just not your year? Like, you have injuries.
Yeah, that's the Bears every year. Probably a bad example.
As you can see, there's not much hope for you left.
Like,
would you fire Eberflus?
Probably not. I think you got to make that decision based on where they finish. I think that, Caleb Williams is clearly developing. That defense is clearly in a good spot. Like, you came out. This year's Bears team is winning games in a fashion that last year's team didn't.
Well, and you're positive on points.
Yeah.
So, which I think was one of the definite issues that everybody was worried about 3 games into the season. Well, Caleb's turned it around.
Yeah.
And I think Shane Waldron is not a good offensive coordinator.
By the way,
but
have you guys heard about the reporting on Jaden Daniels and his work ethic? They're saying that dude is in the facility at 4 a.m. every day, getting his lift in before anyone gets there, studying his film. Like,
he is supposedly an iPad warrior. And you can see the result there.
Yeah.
Look at verticality in Arizona, little Kyler.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's become a thing where you have to be in your iPad. You have it, and when I say iPad, that's your playbook and your video.
Yeah.
You have to be in that.
Well, and I think there's been so much made of this, so you guys have probably heard about this, but the VR thing with Jaden Daniels, to me, is brilliant, dude. Like the fact that that's something that he's used so much in his career already And the fact that it's helping on a weekly basis, helping him, install the game plan for their opponent that week, I think is absolutely brilliant. Because
wasn't there video of him over the summer?
Yeah,
in his basement or whatever, this beautiful space of him running offense and reading defenses in virtual reality.
Yeah,
where he has got the headset on, whatever
I think
eye
it's
goggles
Oculus.
thing.
I think it's Oculus.
And he's under center, and you can see him. It's amazing. It is. It's what every quarterback should be doing, and many of them are. I don't know why everybody's not, but many of them are.
Yes.
And if you're a young guy, you got to be doing it.
Well, and I think it's not just the ability to practice like the rep and like reading the defense, but I think it's the visual. That's the thing. That's the thing that I think makes VR so effective. As a quarterback, the way you're practicing, you're getting the exact same viewpoint that you do in the game. So when you see it in the game, you're like, yep, saw this on VR. It's coming from over here. We're going over there. And that's why it's so effective. And I love that innovation in the game.
And I think it might have been John Gruden. I watch a lot of TikToks. It might have been John Gruden over in training camp talking about how it's just like a pilot in a simulator. Because if you look at the way they teach airline pilots how to fly like actual jets, they're in an immersive simulator. It's a box, and it's like the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yes.
You're surrounded by screens, and you feel like you're flying a plane. That's what Jaden Daniels was doing.
And I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think that this whole conversation that we always have every year with NFL organizations drafting quarterbacks really high, and hey, what's his bust probability, and like what's the probability of him being an all pro at his position? Things like VR should bleed down at the college level. Go down into college and use that and develop.
Are you a believer that this group, because there's a question about these quarterbacks, and I think very clearly now Drake May is in real trouble in New England.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is in very, very bad shape there. That offensive line is horrendous.
Yeah.
This group of quarterbacks, I think, has two Hall of Famers in Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels if we were making that decision today.
Right.
But I think the guy in the best shape here is Michael Penix Jr. Because he's sitting behind Kirk Cousins, who's balling his ass off right now in Atlanta.
Yes.
And if I look across the league at these young quarterbacks, the guy in the worst shape is Drake May in New England. The guy in the best shape, in my opinion, is Penix in Atlanta. I think, obviously, Jaden Daniels, I just don't know that a quarterback like that comes in and plays with his hair on fire, there's always a hard stop somewhere. Always a hard stop. Because he is exposing himself to injury on a regular basis. I think if you look at the rookies that we've really seen play a lot of football, Bo Nix is an average quarterback. I think Jaden and Caleb Williams have separated themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, as a Bears fan, I've never been this excited about a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean,
because you're seeing him grow and learn. I mean, cutting his release time under 3.5 seconds, which is not special, but now getting it down.
But it's improving.
Yeah.
It's improving.
I'm seeing it. I don't see it in Bo Nix. I think Drake May is going to be dead before he's ever got a career.
Yeah, I think Drake May's, he's going to suffer from a bad situation, guy. And it's really unfortunate because Drake May's got a huge arm, big body quarterback, could really do some nice things in the league. But if your situation's crap, you're not going to be able to put out good results.
And it's what I worry about with Jaden Daniels. The guy is really good. There's no way not to think the guy's amazing.
Yeah.
I just don't know that he can do what he's done, man. Like it terrifies me, guys.
Well, he's got the horses at wide receiver to keep doing it. I mean, they're
stay in the pocket.
Yeah,
be mobile in the pocket. Move with the idea of throwing.
Yeah,
mirror Patrick Mahomes, who only runs to throw.
Yeah,
that is the way I think you stay healthy. And injuries are going to happen. You're going to get rolled up. You're going to have tough situations. But it's just really scary to me when you have a young quarterback that's playing with his hair on fire. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt.
We'll see. I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I also don't think that the guy is, he's obviously someone who's really confident in his passing ability and loves bombing it down the field. And, he's not a run first guy. He's a pass first guy that does like to run a little bit too much. And I think that, I would rather him be a pass first guy that runs a bit too much. We can dial that back, right?
Yep.
I can say, hey, you know what? You're a gifted thrower of the football very clearly. Yes, you are going to have to run for effect sometimes, but we need to prioritize keeping you healthy. And we need to make sure that as a team, we run the football effectively, because what no one's talking about is all those bombs that he's throwing were, before that, they were running the ball and running the ball and running the ball and sucking the defense in and pulling those linebackers up. And then they bomb it down the field. So I just think that Washington honestly has a responsibility to keep him healthy by running the football.
All right, let's get your comment on fired coaches and young quarterbacks after this from the Advocates.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate, because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the Advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
Yes, you do. Clear, risk-free advice. That's what you get from the Advocates at theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Rowdy Runner. Cowboys problem won't be solved until Jones is gone.
Yeah, and I think more and more people are agreeing with that, and I am on board with that as well.
Delaric, McCarthy won't be fired, but they won't renew his contract. That could be. The awkward guy, McCarthy's 100% getting fired. The stadium guy, James, yes, please replace Mike McCarthy if the Cowboys make the playoffs. Okay. The felon, attorney in Oregon. People blaming Russell Wilson for the Broncos' problem last 2 years is similar. How are the Broncos doing without Wilson? Pretty much the same as they were doing with him. Michael W. Smith. Mount Mama. McCarthy's contract up after this year. All Cowboys coaches are on a one-year deal. So he might not get fired, but he might not get a new deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're Mike, are you ready to move on from that?
The awkward guy. I think Jerry is going to try and hire Kirby Smart since he's used to excusing felons on the football team. The felon attorney in Oregon, Anthony Pierce, now fire him now. Bring back Gruden.
Hey, who's Anthony Pierce?
Never heard of him. Oh, Antony. Okay, Big Blue Horses. Head coaches on the block: New York, Dallas, Jacksonville, Philly, Buffalo, Carolina. Buffalo's an interesting one. If they don't go deep into the playoffs, does Sean McDermott meet his final ending?
Yes, you have to. If you don't...
Is Josh Allen a generational quarterback?
Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is smart. He manipulates defenses. He can make the big throw. He can run for effect. He can take abuse. I think what Josh needs, to your point, an offensive-minded head coach.
Yes.
Somebody who can run a scheme that puts him in the best position to win. Because honestly, think about it. Isn't that why Pat Mahomes is so successful? Yes, he's got raw ability. Yes, he is a phenomenal athlete. Yes, he is brilliant as a quarterback. But think about the situations he finds himself in with the play calling that Andy Reid is giving him. Andy Reid is putting Pat in positions to be successful. He's telling Pat, hey, we're going to run these guys down the field. Take the check down.
Yeah.
Right? Take the check down for 4 yards.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the thing with Josh Allen, is he's not being put in good positions.
They're 3-2 because they beat Arizona barely, Miami, Jacksonville, and now they've lost to the Ravens and the Titans on the road. Clearly the two best teams they've faced.
The Texans.
The Texans. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Ravens and Texans, the two best teams they've faced.
Yeah.
And their defense hasn't looked particularly good doing it. That game against Baltimore was a disaster. I think I would agree. Sean McDermott's probably on the hot seat.
Yeah,
I would agree. Mike Smith, Stephen Jones will take over when Jerry is gone. I absolutely. Eric and Raleigh, Harbaugh in Baltimore, he's not on the hot seat. He's not. I don't think in any way.
Well,
shape,
and I think, I think with the turnaround they've had, you're not firing him. I think that,
and he's developing a better offensive scheme. Their offensive scheme right now really caters to Lamar, which it has not always been the case under John Harbaugh in Baltimore. Now it is. Calford, Kyle Shanahan just needs to cleanse of the bad playoff juju. Man.
Yeah. See, and that's the hard part.
A small moment in time.
Like, think about that. You're getting to the playoff almost every year.
Yeah.
But you just can't finish.
Mountain Mama, Joe Boo is not happy with the bad juju. That's a baseball movie reference. Screw you, Joe Boo. You guys remember that, Major League? Steiny Snurdly. The Bears will always be fighting for third place in the North regardless of the coach. I totally disagree. I think now that you finally have a guy who could be a franchise quarterback, not yet, but could be, you've got to go all in on the offense. And Shane Waldron ain't that guy. The offensive coordinator, he ain't that guy. He's not that guy. It ain't happening. Capazzo, I'm still a believer in Zachy Poo making it as a starter in the league. Do you guys think that Zach Wilson can be a starter in the NFL?
Yes.
What's it going to take for him to get that chance, though? You're probably going to have an injury.
Yeah, you are. Bo Nix won't make it the whole year, in my opinion. He's running too much.
He's a tough SOB, though.
He is, but the league doesn't discriminate.
I'd agree with that. Brandon Butler. Hello, Brandon. The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. I believe that's a Jaden Daniels reference.
I was going to say, is that a Jaden Daniels reference?
I think it is. Daniels has really impressed me. RG3 was a rookie of the year and looked impressive as well. He was.
But let's not see. This is an awful comparison. Just a trash comparison. No disrespect to you, Mike, but the people saying that RG3 looks the same as Jaden Daniels, you don't remember RG3. RG3 was a run-first guy
all the way
that could sling it. And he wanted to break the game open with his legs, which is why he tore his ACLs and why he took all those huge hits.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels knows damn well that he's a stick and he has to protect himself. And that's why you're seeing him be more successful, in my opinion, than RG3 was ever going to be.
Mayor McCluskey, Scam Rising needs the advocates as well. Hashtag finger game. BYU fan. High on the hog right now, aren't you? Aren't you? Big Blue Horses, it's very bad to steal Joe Burrow. Okay. I think you have to look at Zach Taylor at the end of the year. They're in last place.
Why, though?
Because he's not a good head coach?
No, because Joe Burrow couldn't throw a football.
I would agree. Mayor McCluskey, get Zach Wilson to back up Brock Purdy in San Francisco. I am so amazed that San Francisco 49er fans have the pitchforks out for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's going to get paid, dude.
But do you want it to be in San Francisco?
Yeah, if I'm the Niners, he's my guy.
I'm not paying him a second before I have to because I like the salary cap flexibility of a rookie contract.
Yeah.
But he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. Mike Smith. How long it took Geno Smith to be a starter? Guess Zach could do it as well. Yeah, you could. Absolutely. I think that's an interesting comparison. There's no doubt. Wasikowski, Lions will pay every penny they can to keep Ben Johnson, as they should.
Yeah.
As they should. As they should. Joe Booze Rum. Oh, Joe Booze Rum, like Major League Joe Booze Rum. Yeah, when he drank it and then the pitcher, yeah. Absolutely. Boyd Lake, hello. The SEO king of America, Boyd Lake. How's life in Texas, Boyd? QBs need to get through year 2 before crowning them as elite. Once the NFL gets tape on you, then we'll find out. Of course. And I think that's why we're all cautiously optimistic about Daniels and Caleb Williams. And I think I'm a big believer that you have it or you don't almost right out of the gate with a quarterback.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a legend, you don't have time to wait. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Well, and if you're going to be that guy, that tape doesn't come back to nearly as much. I mean, you may see some adjustments to the defense. Like you may see, hey, they're gonna play cover 2 most of the game as opposed to last year playing a mix of 1 and 2. Like you may see some of those adjustments, but it's not like baseball where, hey, this guy had an amazing, like with Paul Skeens, the pitcher for the Pirates. Hey, this guy had an amazing half a season as a rookie and is going to win the Rookie of the Year or whatever. But now the league's just all of a sudden going to learn how to hit 100 and then go oppo with his slider. Like, he has overwhelming stuff, and these two guys have the ability to read the defense, roll the pocket, and still beat you even when you're in your best coverage.
I think it's really difficult to, unless you talk to guys like this on a regular basis. Here's an advantage of having covered the NFL for all these years. When you talk to a quarterback, you know if they've got it or not. Like Mark Bolger in St. Louis is the best example I've ever had of this. You just knew. Sitting at his locker talking to him, which I did dozens of times, you just knew the guy had it. He understood it. He could tell you. He could.
Yeah.
You know, I remember him talking about, hey, we got to get Steven Jackson, the running back, going. And we were talking about, I'll never forget, we were talking about how he has to move the linebacker pre-snap to give Steven Jackson the advantage to run XYZ. And I'm going to do that, and we're going to motion, and we're like, you knew it.
Yes.
You knew it. But you know what else you knew? Right out of the gate, Alex Smith was not going to be elite. You knew it because he's just not that guy. He is great. He is an amazing human being. He was never going to be elite in the NFL. And I thought he was good enough to take the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl and win.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh disagreed and went with Colin Kaepernick. And sitting there, oh, wait, that's right. Colin Kaepernick wouldn't allow you to sit and have a conversation with him. It was very difficult to do. But Alex Smith, same thing. Sat with Alex Smith at his locker, mental guy. Like, I think quarterbacks who hit right out of the gate, it's their mentals.
Yeah.
That Rich Gannon, when I covered the Raiders all those years ago, talking to Rich Gannon about the way that zones were evolving in the NFL, talking to Rich Gannon about different ways to use Lamont Jordan, and the way that Lamont Jordan impacted, Tim Brown, and then going to the Super Bowl in Tampa and talking to Tim Brown about how great Rich Gannon was. Like, you just know Rich Gannon was never going to be the best quarterback in the league, but they could win with him.
Yeah.
You just knew it. And I don't see those guys in the NFL right now. I think we are coming out of a period where guys, like, there's no Tom Brady in this league right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not even Patrick Mahomes. Not even Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I think Tom Brady was a step ahead of where Patrick Mahomes is.
Yeah, I think look at the difference in their game and look how Tom did it versus look how Pat's doing it. I think Tom didn't need to run around. Like, yeah, did he move the pocket once in a while? Sure. But Tom beat you because he knew where you were going to be, and he knew the 1 foot by 1 foot window.
He beat you with mentals. He did not beat you with the physical part of the game.
Yeah, and again, it's not to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes, but I think that the thing that NFL fans today don't appreciate enough is, first of all, how much Tom won, and even not even just the Super Bowls, but just how dominant he was.
You don't remember how dominant he was.
Yeah, so like week to week, remembering how dominant he was, and the fact that he went out there. You guys understand? He went out there and made Scotty Miller and Chris Hogan, and he turned Wes Welker into Wes Welker. Like, he turned Amendola into Amendola. Like, he did that. So to me, I don't know. I would agree there's not a TB12 in the league right now. And I think that's okay. And I think that guys are going to figure out real quick that they got to manipulate the defense. And I also think on the defensive side, there are way too many defenses in this league playing as individual guys and not as teams, which is why it's turned into an offensive league.
Yeah.
It just has.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting with the quarterbacks. I truly do. Let's see. Mile High Phil, let's face it, Zach had no chance of becoming a QB under that regime in Jetsland. Totally agree. Mike Smith, good point. Boyd Lake, Rick Meyer, shared Rookie of the Year award, but went downhill fast. Did you have to bring up Rick Meyer? Was that necessary? The Chicago Bears legend.
The Bears.
Rick Meyer. My God. The felon attorney, Oregon. I still have my Alex Smith jersey. Great human being.
Yes.
Let's see. One other thing I want to get to today. This Connor Stallions situation at Michigan. Did you guys see Connor Stallions on Barstool talking about sign stealing at Michigan?
At 21, we lose to Michigan State. Kenneth Walker had a great game.
Played fantastic.
Yep. And we needed some help. Right. They had to lose twice. And we had to win
Who had to
out.
lose twice again?
Michigan State had to lose twice. And then that would have resulted in having a three-way tie. Or no, we would have beaten Ohio State, and then it would have just been us and Ohio State, because then Michigan State would not have been in that three-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost to Purdue. And then I think it was the next week they played Ohio State, the week before we played Ohio State. And so we needed Ohio State to win. So I gave Michigan State signals to a buddy of mine and said, hey, I changed all the logos. I made it look like it came from a different school. I don't want to give Ohio State something from Michigan, right? They might not use it. Who knows? But we need Ohio State to win. And I know they steal the crap out of defensive signals. So here you go. So I gave it to a buddy who may have given it to a buddy who then gave it to Ohio State and said,
classic game of telephone.
Yep. I got this from so-and-so at, name your school university. And, so they got, I'm sure they probably already had them, but it just confirmed everything. But yeah.
I'm telling you now, Connor Stallions doesn't deny what he did. The thing that's amazing is a Michigan guy through and through gave signs to a friend of his to give to Ohio State so that Ohio State would beat Michigan State, which they did. It's crazy, the stories he told on the Barstool podcast, and I encourage you to go watch the whole thing. It's remarkable. He confirmed a lot of what we talked about on the show, that, for instance, the predominant sign stealing is not offensive signals, it's defensive signals. That Ohio State was very easy to steal signs from because they had the same signal. They had 8 guys putting in signals. The hot guy was the same guy all season long. He doesn't even try to hide it anymore. He's like, the first thing that they asked me to do at Michigan was to draw them wind patterns for punting and kicking at every stadium we were going to play in. They wanted a sheet that said, okay, we're going to the shoe. Here's Connor Stallions gave them a book of every kick, where it landed, how the wind impacted it at every stadium they were going to play in for the rest of the year. Where the wind was blowing on that kick, how it impacted the ball, and where the ball landed. For every kick in that stadium for the entire season. That's the kind of guy we're talking about. And I always tell you, hate in sports is okay. Hate in real life, not okay. Hate in sports, completely fine. You can hate Connor Stallions for what he did. You cannot deny that the guy is brilliant. The guy is brilliant. Listening, we were just talking about it with quarterbacks. You listen to Connor Stallions talk, he understands what his job is. He's an analyst. And the guy was really good at stealing signs. And he said, nobody knew who I was when I first got to Michigan. And he gave him the weather stuff. And then he started diagnosing signals. But nobody knew who he was. So he was standing on the sideline, and the only guy that knew who he was the offensive coordinator who was up in the box. He's standing on the sideline near the players and coaches, and the other team is signaling in. And let's say they send the signals in, and Stallions would yell, power run left side, power run B gap. And he's standing on the sideline yelling this. And the player's like, who this guy, man? And then sure enough, what would happen? power run right side, power run left side. That's how he became prominent at Michigan. Not because they said to him, go steal signs. He sold them on the idea that he could, and they empowered him to do so. And so everything that we now know that happened began with Connor Stalions writing a weather report and how wind was impacting punts at Michigan. It's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to me, the level of espionage. And I agree with what everybody has said. Everybody is stealing signs. It's because it's not difficult to do. It's the level of depth and precision that Connor Stalions did it at. And he was only able to do that by getting multiple angles and sending people and developing. And he talks about it. It's about patterns. It's about, consistent movement. He has a whole chart that he uses. And they showed it a couple times. What does it mean if your hand is like this versus like this? Versus like this versus like this? He has all that stuff on paper in visuals. And you see him in the videos we've played on the show, on the sideline, breaking these signals down, writing, taking notes. And it almost looked like at times he was drawing on his paper. And now you know why. Because he's noting which way the hand is turned. He's noting how the fingers are positioned. Because signs are that precision. Signs are that precise. And you know what else I thought was fascinating? He talked about how other teams have been using Bluetooth devices to communicate to their quarterback. Not this year, for previous years. He claims it wasn't in the Big Ten. But he's like, oh, yeah, I know teams that are using Bluetooth devices. Because now you have in-helmet speakers that were supposed to eliminate signaling. But I think we even talked about this on the show. It didn't eliminate signaling. Did you guys notice most teams are still hand signing? Because what are they using the speaker for? Hey, they're coming at you through the right side. Hey, it's a blitz off the corner with a twist through the A gap. It's not like, okay, red, right, rocket, banana, and Johnny's jockstrap on 3, break.
Right.
Because that play's being signaled into them. You want to know how hard it is to be a quarterback? You're watching the signals come in while a guy is talking to you in your ear saying, hey, they're bringing that corner blitz. Hey, they're in cover 2 shell, but they're disguising that cover 2 shell by showing. While you're looking at somebody signaling in plays, you're taking in 2 streams at once. And most of the best guys are executing at a very high level.
Yeah. Yep. Because they're comfortable with it.
And the fascinating thing is, we've all known this already. Coaches were never going to use the helmet speaker just to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that
Jake Retzloff talked about that.
Yeah, I think that there's a balance. We saw it with Justin Fields and the Bears, all that drama about, hey, they're in my helmet too much or whatever. Like that's been an age-old thing in the NFL. And I think, I'm not going to sit here, not saying you're celebrating Connor Stalions, but I'm not going to sit here and get excited about what this dude did. This dude wrecked the game of football last year and cheated his way to a national championship. And I'm not here for it. And
I am not saying that what Connor Stalions did is right. What I'm telling you is he was really good at his job. And they accidentally found him because he kept beating on their door saying, I want to work here. I want to be here. I want to work here. I want to be here.
Yeah.
And he just beat on their door until they let him in. And then they said, okay, we're going to hire you. Write me a weather report. And he didn't write a weather report. Like it was, I have a lot of admiration for his work ethic and his detail. The cheating part and scamming your way to a national championship, that's what Michigan did. And they're going to pay a heavy price for it. They already are.
Yeah, I guess I don't disagree with any of that. My biggest issue is kind of what you're saying there, like the character portion of it. Like, yeah, great. You're good at what you do. You can create a weather report. You can steal signs. You can you're good at, okay, cool. That's not unique to you. There are hundreds of guys who are doing this at an elite level and they're doing it legally. They're doing it professionally. they're doing it with a high level of character, and they're doing it honestly. So for me, I struggle. I agree. What he said and talked about on that podcast is fascinating. I agree with that. Like, it brings you kind of behind the scenes. Like, you can begin to understand like what he goes through in his process. Right. Like, okay, that part of it is fascinating, but I still struggle with giving the guy credit.
What really? What Diddy did wasn't right, but he was really good at his job, guy. And then you go to anonymity. Like, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Mike Smith. But guys, head coach Khakis gave the "we don't steal, we don't cheat, and we don't lie" speech.
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
Come on, bro.
Come on. Ron Nolan. Good morning. The 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal. Truth. Ferris, what did you say? Because Ferris Khan already has gotten filtered by YouTube. You said something that YouTube didn't like. This is not hard. OSU linemen had slightly different stances. Yeah, they tipped their pitches at Ohio State. They were using the offensive linemen. Basically, their posture was giving away what play was coming or what type of run was coming. Is what I think most people know now. Sam Webb had a whole show on this last year with his experts. Yeah, it's fine. Mike Smith. Gundy uses Bluetooth tech to tell Bowman that they are using cover 1 defenses.
Well,
I believe
Bowman's
that's true.
never seen a cover 1 defense. So I mean,
believe that's true.
That's the problem.
That's true. Max Croxall. Let's go Cougars. Okay. Eric in Raleigh. Connor Stallions was just borrowing the play signals. He was just borrowing them.
Yeah, sure. He didn't do anything wrong, nothing nefarious. You know, the guy is a wizard. Like,
and again, I'm not trying to make Connor Stallions out to be a hero.
No, and I don't think you are, but I think
just
a lot of people are.
I just think it's remarkable what a guy that's highly motivated with analytical skills. I used to work around a guy named John Hadley in St. Louis. You want a stat package? Call John Hadley. Because there are just certain guys who have a mind for numbers. And you look at the way guys like that work. Connor Stallions can't just write you a weather report. 65 and sunny, winds out of the southeast. He's not capable of that. He has got that mind to write you a notebook of every kick in every wind condition in the stadiums you're playing in and how the wind and the weather affected the punter and the kicker for every kick in every stadium you're going to play in. Do you know the volume of work and time that takes? It's remarkable. That's what is awe-inspiring to me.
Yeah, and again, I don't think you're trying to make the guy out to be a hero. But I do think a lot of people are. I think there's a huge sector, and it's not just Michigan fan. Like, it's a lot of people who are like, hey, this guy, this guy, came in and worked his ass off, and they, sold them on the idea, and he got in there, and he should be regarded as like this savior of the Michigan football program, because Jim wasn't doing anything, and Connor's the real hero here. And my God, I wish I could agree with that. Honestly, I do, but you did it illegally. That's my problem.
Ferris Khan, is Ohio State, I think you mean Ohio State, colluding with 2 other teams, not only sharing signs with each other, but their tendencies is totally kosher? What did Michigan do then? What did Connor Stallions admit that he did on behalf of Michigan football?
Did Ohio State ask Connor Stallions to send them signs through 2 of his buddies?
It's wild to me. The awkward guy. Guys. They were using Bluetooth to talk about adding an upper deck to the stadium. I believe they were.
Yeah, and how the wind affected that if they put the upper deck in.
Ferris Khan, fun fact, sign stealing's not illegal in college football.
Nobody said it was, dude.
It's when you send people to, steal signs in person at your future opponent's stadiums using video technology, cloud, publicly available ticket accounts that are in your name, publicly available Venmo accounts that are in your name, and then those people that you paid to go to the stadium give interviews and tell everybody exactly what you did.
Because what is the Connor
That's the illegal
Stallions content really telling us? The content, what it's telling us is, hey, I'm Connor Stallions. I'm a voracious guy when it comes to putting this stuff together. If I could have a couple of different angles at the stadium when they're playing someone else, that would speed this process up. That would let me and allow me to put together a more impactful and more prolific package for my coaches to go out and defeat the Ohio State defense.
And I love the argument that Michigan fan was making in the comments yesterday about how cell phone video doesn't help you. Well, I don't know if you know this, but iPhone cameras are elite. And Michigan, I'm going to assume, has the technology to manipulate that video to make it well worth it, or he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have done it.
And it's so clear that this guy, mentally speaking, is so good in this area and so poor at disguising what he's doing. He was so good at putting it together that he just forgot this whole portion about receipts and Venmo accounts
and the cover up. He forgot to cover it up.
Hey, dude, you're running this whole illegal scheme. Might want to throw the rug over it. It just completely blew that part off of it.
Mayor McCluskey, guys. If you could go back to the 70s and steal signs from any team, what team would it be?
Well, Marty, I pull out my telescope in the 70s and steal this team's signs.
Okay. Bryce Martin, a member of the show. Bryce Martin is here, by the way, for 17 months.
Nice, dude.
I'm glad I finally was able to catch the show. So are we. Jeff Johnson. This is not about sign stealing. It's about advanced scouting.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. The awkward guy. Monty, when are you getting Connor Stallions on the show? Never. I would not give him publicity. Advanced scouting is illegal. Yes, it is. But aren't teams advanced scouting for each other? No, they're not. When they share notes against common opponents? No, they're not.
But it doesn't matter if they are or they're not. Dude, you're deflecting.
You are.
My guy. Like, you want to talk about stuff that just simply doesn't matter currently, mainly because the rule is not talking about if they collude. The rule is only talking about if you went ahead and advanced scouted.
Yeah.
Like,
Mayor McCluskey, also totally off topic, but did you Caruso's ass get handed to him on defense last night? When you're an elite one-on-one defender, you're going to get burnt in the NBA. That's just the way it is, right? Damian Fowler, Smash or Ferris, just admit that you're biased, homer, unobjective Michigan fan who will only ever see things from one way.
Agreed.
Delaric has been a member of the show for 19 months.
Let's go, baby.
Go, bud. Let's go. Did someone say Jimmer Verdette? I believe they did.
Yeah.
I believe they did.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Jimmer Verdette.
What was said.
Yeah.
Last weekend at the official golf resort of the Monty Show, Canyons Golf. This is the last week of the summer season up at Canyons. Not that it, I guess, really matters because, my goodness, the weather forecast is going to be amazing this weekend. The highs for this weekend are 84 Friday, 83 Saturday, 82 Sunday. It is going to be remarkably beautiful for the final weekend at Canyons Golf at Park City Mountain Resort. Canyons Village is where you find Canyons Golf. Just Google search Canyons Golf Park City. Book your tee time online and then go get concierge level service. A great cart with GPS that's really accurate. Lush, receptive greens that are challenging because they're undulated. Beautiful green fairways. Vistas with fall colors. Moose, deer, fox, they're all running around. The deers. It's a beautiful place to play golf. You've got one more weekend to do it this weekend. Google search Canyons Golf. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Canyons Golf, the official golf resort of the Monty Show. I can't believe the season's over at Canyons already. It has been an amazing year up there. Congratulations to Darren Ingram and all the guys up at Canyons Golf. They've had a great season. And It's never been better at Canyons Golf. It just is. What a great year. So congratulations to all those guys. Can't wait for next year, but you've got one weekend left to get up there. Google search Canyons Golf, Park City, and book your tee times online. Couple more comments, and we got to roll. Mike Smith, Monty got kicked out of Canyons Golf. He got caught washing his balls on the 18th.
Yeah, you know.
I had tried to do it behind a bush. Didn't really happen.
Yeah.
You know, it just, we were talking about this in our pre-show meeting today. Is life just flying by?
Yes.
Can you guys believe that it's the 10th of October?
I think that we as people, as we grow up, are forced to make this like hard decision in life. And this isn't just to us. I think that a lot of people deal with this of like, hey, how much tenacity do I want to throw at this, like your career or like, you know, whatever you're doing versus how much time am I willing to give myself to enjoy the time that's going by, you know? And, you know,
100%.
Like, and I think that, you know, that quotient and that equation changes as every single day goes by. And, you know, it's this thing where, you know, I used to really be someone who felt like, hey man, like you gotta be grinding, you gotta be making as much money as you can. And like, you really gotta be pushing the pace and like doing that. And that's cool. I'm great with that. But at the same time, we can't be that way. And then 10 years down the line, be like, well, I regret that I did that. Like there's gotta be, you know, that's a decision we all face.
And I talk about it all the time when, especially if you have kids, you blink and it's like, oh, what do you mean you're applying to college? What? No, you mean you're in 8th or you're in 5th grade?
Yeah, 8th grade college, you mean.
It's wild. Life is just flying by.
Yeah.
Live every day like it's your last, my friends. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Clear, risk-free advice. You deserve an advocate. Chat with an injury attorney live online for free at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.